Okay, this is math lesson 7.6. And before we get started on the workbook pages, there are two things I kind of want to touch on before we start the workbook pages. One is a mixed number. Now, a mixed number is going to have like a whole number and then a fraction. So that's a mixed number. It's got a whole number and a fraction. Now, if this is 2 1/3, one whole would be 3 out of 3, but it says we have 2 of them, so we also have another 3 out of 3, so that's 2 wholes, plus we have the 1/3. Now, all together, and I'm sorry there's a glare on that. Let me turn the lamp off. There we go. Okay, so all together, if we added that, 3 plus 3 is 6, plus 1 is 7/3. Now it's an improper fraction, and what I mean by that, it's bigger on top than it is on the bottom. Now, let's say we want to take that fraction and make it back into a mixed number. So we've got 7/3. This is where if you don't know how to do long division, you're going to have a little bit of problems with this. Okay, so what this problem says right here is 7 divided by 3. Okay, how many times will 3 go into 7? It'll go in 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. We subtract and we get 1 left over. And if you remember from months ago when we learned how to write the remainder as a fraction, that's 1 out of 3. So you can see that you got the same answer there. There's a faster way to do this. Let's say I have 2 1/3 and they want us to write it as a improper fraction or as a fraction. You could actually do 2, oops, you can't see what I'm talking about here. So you could actually do 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 will give you 7/3. Now that's kind of harder to see. Some of you will be able to do this shortcut and others of you will have to write it out like that. Okay, so that was a little bit of a pre-lesson for a mixed number and going from a fraction to a mixed number. All right, so now take out your workbook and we are on page 417 and we're going to be renaming fractions and mixed numbers. Now we already talked about how a mixed number is like a whole number, like 4 and 2, 6. That's a mixed number right there because you have a whole number and a fraction. And then we're going to be going from fractions and making them into mixed numbers. So let's try this problem right here. Mr. Fox has 2 3/6 loaves of cornbread. Each loaf was cut into 1/6 size pieces. If he has 14 people over for dinner, is there enough bread for each person to have 1 piece? So then it tells us here a mixed number is a number represented by a whole number and a fraction. And you can write a mixed number as a fraction. So to find how many 1/6 pieces are in 2 3/6, we're going to have to write 2 3/6 as a fraction. So the first question says, what is the size of 1 piece of bread relative to the whole? 1 piece of bread is 1/6 of the whole. How much bread does Mr. Fox need for 14 people? Well, he needs at least 14 1/6 size pieces or slices, pieces of bread. So he needs at least 14 sixths. That's a better way to say it. He needs 14 sixths. So we're going to think 2 and 3 sixths. That's 1 whole plus 1 whole plus the 3 sixths. Now what we're going to do is change that 1 whole into a fraction. So 1 whole would be the same as 6 out of 6, and another whole would be another 6 out of 6, and then we're going to add on the 3 sixths. So I wish they had put an equal sign there. So we know that 6 plus 6 is 12, 13, 14, 15, so we've got 15 sixths. So is he going to have enough? Because he needed 14 sixths and he has 15 sixths. So the answer is yes. Here's another way we could have changed this to a fraction. You could have done 2 times 6 is 12, plus 3 is 15, and then we keep the denominator of 6. So in this problem, there are 15 6-size pieces in 2 and 3 sixths. So there is enough bread for 14 people to each have 1 piece. Okay, let's turn the page to page 418. And we have another problem. To weave a bracelet, Charlene needs 7 pieces of brown thread. Each piece of thread must be 1/3 yard long. How much thread should she buy to weave the bracelet? So they give us 7/3 because she's going to need 7 1/3 pieces. So we could write that as unit fractions. 7/3 is equal to 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3 plus 1/3. Okay. Find out how many wholes are in 7/3. Well, I'm going to show you, they're showing you with the model. So 3 out of 3 would be 1 whole, and then another 3 out of 3 would be 2 wholes, and then we've got 1/3 left over here. I'm going to show you another way to do it. This is also 7 divided by 3. Okay, how many times will 3 go into 7? 2 times. 2 times 3 is 6. I subtract and I get a remainder of 1. But instead of writing R1, we're going to put that remainder over the divisor. So that is 2 and 1/3. Now that's the same thing that we just saw in this picture. 3 out of 3 is 1 whole. Another 3 out of 3 is 2 wholes. So 1 plus 1 is 2. So we got 1 plus 1 plus the 1/3. So that is equal to 2 and 1/3. So Charlene should buy 2 and 1/3 yards of thread. Problem at the bottom. Write the unknown numbers. Write mixed numbers above the number line and fractions greater than 1 below the number line. Okay, so if we were counting, we've got 1 whole, then we've got 1 and 1/6, 1 and 2/6, 1 and 3/6, 1 and 4/6, 1 and 5/6, and then if we have 1 whole plus 6/6, we would have 2 wholes. So 2 and 1/6, 2 and 2/6, 2 and 3/6, 2 and 4/6, 2 and 5/6, and then 3 wholes. So then here we've got 6/6, 7/6, 8/6, 9/6, 10/6, 11/6, 12/6. Now I just want to point something out to you. 12 divided by 6 is 2 because you would have 2 wholes. 13, 6, 14, 6, 15, 6, 16, 6, 17, 6, and 18, 6. Now, let me just show you another one. Let's do 16, 6. That's 16 divided by 6. 6 goes into 16 2 times. Let me get a drink here, sorry. Okay, 2 times 6 is 12. When I subtract, I get 4 left over, and I don't have anything else to bring down, so this is a remainder. A remainder of 4 out of the divisor is 6. 2 and 4, 6 is the same as 16, 6. I want you to see the relationship there. Okay, let's go to page 419. All right, write the mixed number as a fraction. I'm going to teach you 2 different ways to do this. There is a longer way and then there is a shorter way. If we have a mixed number and we need to write it as a fraction, we need to think that 1 whole is the same as 8/8, plus I have this 1/8 right here. And we've learned that 8/8 plus 1/8 would be 9/8. Now the shorter way to do that is to say 1 times 8 is 8, plus 1 is 9, and we get 9/8. Okay, I'm going to do them both ways. So 1 3/5. 1 whole candy bar would be 5 out of 5, plus the 3 out of 5 would equal 8 out of 5. So 8/5. Now, shortcut, 1 times 5 is 5, plus 3 is 8. 8/5. Okay, let's do another one. 1 whole, if we're dealing with thirds, would be 3/3, plus the 2/3. 3/3 plus 2/3 equals 5/3. Shortcut, 1 times 3 is 3, plus 2 is 5, 5/3. Now, here they're giving us the fraction, but we want to change it into a mixed number. A mixed number would be a whole number plus a fraction left over. So you're going to think of this as a division problem. 11 divided by 4. If you don't know how to do long division, that's going to be something your parents might have to catch you up on a little bit, because we learned that a couple months ago. All right, 4 goes into 11 2 times. 2 times 4 is 8. I subtract and I get 3 left over. I don't have anything left to bring down. I put the remainder on top, and the denominator is the divisor. So our answer is 2 3/4. Okay, this says 6/5. Now, some of you are going to be able to start doing this in your head. You can think 6 divided by 5. How many times will 5 go into 6? 1 time. 1 times 5 is 5. I subtract, I have 1 left over. So I've got 1 1/5. Okay, let's go to 13 divided by 10. How many times will 10 fit into 13? 1 time. 1 times 10 is 10. I subtract and I have 3 left over. We write the remainder and then we write the divisor. So we have 1 3/10. Okay, I would like you to try 8, 9, and 10 on your own. So pause the video and then come back and check your answers. All right, I'm going to do the shortcut. 2 times 10 is 20, plus 7 is 27/10. I've got a mixed number. They want it as a fraction. I'll show you the long way, 3/3, but we have 3 whole. So that's 3/3 plus 3/3 plus 3/3 plus the 2/3. So 3, 6, 9, 10, 11. I get 11/3. I'm also going to do the shortcut here. 3 times 3 is 9, plus 2 is 11/3. All right, 4 2/5. When you do the math, that becomes 22/5. Okay, for those of you that really like math, finding the unknown answers, think about it. You've got 1 times 7 is 7, plus something will equal 13. The only thing that could fit in there is a 6. On this one, I'd have to think 23 divided by 6 would be, the highest 6 could go in would be 3, and then I'd have 5 left over. On 57 divided by 11, 11 goes into 55 5 times, and I would have 2 left over. Okay. So Penn has 1/2 cup and 1/8 cup measuring cups. What are 2 ways he could measure out 1 3/4 cups of flour? So we could do 3 1/2 cups and 2 1/8 cups, or we could do 14 1/8 cups. Okay, if you're wondering how they got that, I'm going to change this into an improper fraction. 1 times 4 is 4, plus 3 is 7, so I've got 7/4, and I'm going to change that into eighths. 4 times 2 is 8, 7 times 2 is 14. So I would need 14 1/8 cups. All right, Juanita is making bread. She needs 3½ cups flour, but she only has a 1/4 measuring cup. How many cups of flour will Juanita use to prepare the bread? Okay, so let's take 3½ and make it into an improper or top-heavy fraction. 3 times 2 is 6, plus 1 is 7 halves. Let's change that into fourths. So 2 times 2 is 4, 2 times 7 is 14. So we would need 14 1/4 cups. Okay, let's turn the page. Cal is making energy squares. How many 1/2 cups of peanut butter are used in the recipe? So I see here that we have 1½ cups of peanut butter, but they want to know how many half cups is that. Okay, I could take the 1 and make that into 1/2 plus, well, no, let's make 1/2, or 1 whole would be 2 out of 2. And then I also have, it says 1½, so there's my 1 and there's my half, and that equals 3 halves. So how many 1/2 cups? We're going to need 3 1/2 cups right here. Okay. Suppose Cal wants to make 2 times as many energy squares as the recipe makes. How many cups of bran cereal should he use? Okay, so we've got, I'm going to kind of do the work over here. We've got 3 1/4 and we're going to double it. We're going to double the recipe. Now, we could just do 3 plus 3 is 6, and 1/4 plus 1/4 is 2/4. That's the easiest way to do that. We could also do 3 times 4 is 12 plus 13/4 plus 13/4 would equal 26/4. So it says write your answer as a mixed number and as a fraction greater than 1. So we could use 6 and 2/4, which is also equal to 1/2 cups. Or we could also do the simplest form. So we've got 26 and 4. We could divide these both by 2. 26 divided by 2 would be 13, and 4 divided by 2 would be 2. Cal added 2 3/8 cups of raisins. Write this mixed number as a fraction greater than 1 in simplest form. Okay, so we're going to take 2 3/8, so that would be 8/8 plus 8/8. There's our 2 plus the 3/8. Okay, 8 plus 8 is 16, 17, 18, 19 eighths. So 19 eighths. To write this as a mixed number, we're going to do 19 divided by 8. 8 goes into 19 2 times. 2 times 8 is 16. We're going to subtract and we get 3. There's nothing left to bring down, so our remainder is 3/8. So we've got, oh, we didn't have to do all that. We just had to write 19/8. Sorry about that. Or 2 3/8. And that's what we started with. Okay. Jen is preparing brown rice. She needs 1.5 cups of brown rice and 2 cups of water. Jen only has an 1/8 cup measuring cup. How many 1/8 cups of rice and water will Jen use to prepare the rice? Okay, so we're going to take, we've got 1 plus 2 is 3.5. I'm going to change that. 2 times 3 is 6 plus 1 is 7/2. And they want to know how many eighths that would be. 2 times 4 is 8. 7 times 4 is 28. So that would be, oh, they want it split. Phooey. Okay, I did this one wrong. Hang on. They want them separate. I thought they wanted it all together. Okay, so we've got 1.5 of brown rice. So this is the rice. So we're going to change that into an improper fraction. 1 times 2 is 2 plus 1. So we've got 3/2, and we're going to change that into eighths. 2 times 4 is 8. 3 times 4 is 12. So I need 12 1/8 cups of rice. Okay, then for water, I've got 2 cups of water. So that's like 8/8 plus 8/8 would be 16/8. So we need 16 cups, 16, all right, 1/8 cups of water. Okay, last problem. Draw a line to show the mixed number and fraction that have the same value. Okay, if you look at all these, 4 1/3 is equal to 13/3. 4 times 3 is 12, plus 1 is 13, 13/3. Okay, Now you are going to go to Clever and do the 7.6 Clever assignment.